Hey there. I don't know. I'm just like, I've watched a few videos on some things to, generally in life, how it is for me, it's just like the same idea, but it doesn't apply to me really. Often I find that people always talk about women, and relationships, and sex, and none of it really resonates with me ever. Like some people will talk about like how, for example, someone who is like desperate for a relationship, or people who are, you know, want a man who is high value, or someone who just wants a partner that's this one I can kind of relate to, but not really. Where they just want, a compatible partner. Um, you know, and they go about it a certain way. And I understand all that. To me, personally, it's just like I never have the energy or desire to go through all that, really. Because, one, the thing is, it's like, personally, I never really thought men were good enough for that. On average, just saying. Like, to me, most of the time, from my experience, people always expect people to have relationships or have tried to have a relationship or try to have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever you prefer. And for me, it's like I've never just looked to men and thought like one of them has to be my boyfriend, or one of them has to be someone that I get into a relationship with. I just don't value men enough to do that usually. When I look to men, I only like see, oh, some of them can be good enough for sex. But generally, I don't think many of them are, many of the ones I want to have sex with are good enough for a relationship. So for me, it's always been like, yeah, I'll use them for sex. But not even all of them. That's the thing. People always think just because I'll use a man for sex, that means I'm going to use all men for sex. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. For me, I don't find most men attractive. Honestly, I would say there's probably like 5 to 10% of guys that I'm attracted to. Maybe. Most men are fat, most men are old, most men just don't have the face I'm looking for. Um, there's so many things. I only like men of a certain age group. That's 18 to about 24. And then basically after that, attraction diminishes very heavily, at least in my town. And I know people out here, we kind of live harder than a lot of people out in the world and in the country. Maybe make it under 30, I would say, that generally in my city, less than 25. If man's over 25, yeah, no. Um, Generally, no. I'm not saying all men, but I'm just saying that's my experience. So if you think of it that way, I have a small percentage of men that have to have the certain body type I like. I don't like a lot of muscle. I like thinner. I don't like men who are short, and I don't really like men who are extremely tall. I used to like men that were extremely tall, but for physical reasons, it's for me makes more sense for them not to be, you know, that tall. Anyhow, so for me, I mean, like I have so many different preferences that for me, I've never had like a situation where I'm like, you know, I sleep around really to that extent. But at the same time, I don't look to men in that way. To me, it's like there might be a man that I like and find appealing enough to actually want around for a long time and things of that nature. But I'm not going out looking for it. And I've heard some people even talk about women and act like, for women that we, with sex, basically have sex because we like a man. That's one thing I wanted to point out. Like, that bothers me. I think that perception of women, because for me personally, I've never really thought if I like the guy or not for sex. My thing is, I don't have sex with men who are negative, who seem abusive, who seem like they need to cut you down because they're less attractive than you, things like that. I do not sleep with guys who are insecure or have some problem or showing me their problem. I mean, like, if you have that problem, you could keep it somewhere else and we have sex. Most of the time, people like that are too dumb to really put their problems to the side and just have sex, so they miss out. That's their problem. But I mean, generally, I do not really care if I like the person or not. Many of the time, this is what has been my problem. It's dating. When I would date men, it would be a problem because I didn't like the guy. And more honestly, the reason I messaged him in the first place was because I thought he was handsome. I thought he was attractive. I saw everything and I saw that he fit the package every way that I needed to get my needs done. That's basically it at that point. It has nothing to do with if I like the guy or if I don't like the guy. I mean, if he's got a problem or he's trying to be negative, that's a sign I can't get with the guy like that. But if he's just being a normal person, carrying through, just like, they're getting not along, but like, there's no argument or anything. I don't really care if I like his personality or not. All I care about is just getting, my 10, 20, 30 minutes odd. It's like people always act like women can't like sex. It's so weird. I think that's honestly because so much of the time people expect women not to really have a sexuality. Like, we don't really have any sense of desire, really. That's the assumption. And I think that comes with the whole part of like how in history only men's sexual needs were the ones that needed to be satisfied, but women, we were not really concerned for. We weren't really cared for, because that wasn't really anyone's concern because we live in a patriarchal society. And, basically, I think in part, that's why for me it's problematic because people think of the emotional side of it. And in my experience with dating, I've never been the one who was emotional, ever. Like, I have no emotions, no feelings towards these guys. But at the same time, many of the time with men that I've dealt with, they have always had emotional needs. Like, they need to be wanted, desired, things of that nature. And more than just sex. It can't be that you just want to sleep with them. You don't care who they are. You don't care what they do. You don't even care what their name is. You know, like, honestly, sometimes I would be on top of someone and they say my name and I think, I forgot your name. And honestly, it didn't even matter to me that I forgot their name because it was like, we were just having sex. I wasn't saying calling their name out because obviously I couldn't. But I mean, like, that's just how I feel. Like, I don't really want to have that kind of connection. I never have desire to have that connection. I generally have a connection, like a desire of, you know what I'm talking about, down there. And I think a lot of women do enjoy sex, don't they? Or what's wrong with females? Are they just like robots or something? And they only have like emotional desires and feel things in their minds, but they don't feel anything in their bodies? Like they don't have any desires? That's what's weird to me. And this is what's weird with the dating game situation because it's always like I am playing a dating game that I don't want to play where I'm trying to get guys to, go out and date and things of that nature. They ask me out. They have this long, drawn out date that I don't want to be on because I never wanted to date them. But at the same time, it's like every time I've experienced it, it's always like men don't like when you're too bold about sex. They think that you're trying to get money off them, you're trying to um, make a joke out of them because nobody finds them attractive. It's so annoying. And that's another part of it. Insecure men who are like that, they always feel like nobody wants them. And when that's the case, I'm like, then why are you on, like, when I am interested in a guy, especially on a dating site, for example, I always am like, then why are you on a dating site? If you find that nobody likes you, get the fuck off. Get the fuck off the site, please, because I guess nobody wants you. Why are you wasting people's time? Like, literally. I mean, those things are just so annoying. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I find, like, with dating, nobody really gets me. That's another thing. Like, men never understand me. Like they always think that, women they look for things in women that I literally don't have anything of. Another part of it is the fact of, feminine energy. I have no feminine energy. I am totally zapped out of feminine energy. I never had it. I never wanted it. I don't even understand feminine energy. Sometimes I see it in another one and I'm like, ew, God, you're just too soft, dude. But I'm like, at least I'm not the one fucking you, so I don't really care too much. But, like, to me, it's just like, I don't have that energy. And I don't really desire to really garner that really personally. And that's kind of like where I have more of my problem because it's like most of the time it's like I can't really communicate with people who always are reading me the way they read every woman. But I don't want the same thing as many of the women that they're thinking want a certain thing or want a certain go about things a certain way. You know what I mean? So it's just like I never really feel like it ever really works out. I'm always trying to basically finesse and try and contour and you know um, shape things into a certain way, basically, to try and get what I want. But I mean, like, what sucks even more is that, like I said, going back to what I was saying about how men are so emotional in the sense that, like, if you don't want them in that emotional way, like, you don't want them as your boyfriend, you don't want them in a relationship, you don't even want to see them the next day. You don't want to go out on a date with them. They get all in their feelings about it and can't even have like a one time thing because they're upset because you don't want them for longer than 10 minutes. And that's what pisses me off because it's like, why do you care? Why are you so sensitive that you care if I am not interested in you being my man, you know? Honestly, I don't even know. Like, honestly, the way I see it is like, I guess for me, I don't really, the masculine energy of a man doesn't really do anything for me emotionally. It just is there, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't feel I need to be protected. I don't feel I need to be provided for. I do that myself. So I don't really care like what you know, want or you can do for me. I don't value that really. I value what I can do, and then I value myself and all that stuff. And I guess that's another thing for me. I just don't lean much on men. I don't rely much on men. And that actually has to do with the fact that, like, for me, my mother raised me, single mother. I didn't grow up with men much. And so for me, I just never saw men as anything where, like, I'm supposed to look to for anything. And so, like, I don't know, it's just like kind of like, well, I don't really feel I need you for anything other than that. 'Cause, I mean, my body does say I need a man, but emotionally, it doesn't say I need a man. You see, so to me, that's my thing. It's just that, like, um, oh, but it's just like, people always assume that women value men to be basically providers and they're basically protector and basically like their partner. And sure, I might value some man out there enough to be my partner, but I haven't met him and I honestly don't look for him. It's just like if he's out there and I bump into him and it works out, then it happens. But I don't understand why would I just look for random men to see if they're that man. It's like, I don't just look for random men I'm not sexually attracted to try and find sexual attraction out of. You know what I mean? So it's like if I am emotionally drawn into a man, I will be emotionally drawn into the man. I don't have to look for him. Why would I look for him? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. I look for a man who I'm sexually attracted to, but that's just because I can see it or I can't see it. And if I can't see it, I'm not looking for him. And I mean, you know, honestly, the way it is, I don't know. I just don't really have a calling emotionally. I don't see why I would just have a calling for emotional interest in a man. I get a physical calling to be with a man, but not a sexual, emotional calling. Like I don't get like that. Why would I in my head say I need a man? How does this work? I really don't understand how that whole situation works. Excuse me. I understand that like some people figure they're a man because of one reason or another reason. Maybe that's just their norm in their life. But you gotta think, for me, I spent over 25 years single. And I mean, like, most of that was when I was a kid. And I haven't felt any desire or need that I need a man. Like, that has never come through my head that I need a man in my life. And my, like, boyfriends are like people who you are with, but like, that was another part of it actually I wanted to address. I don't even respect relationships. I really don't. I don't respect relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend. Honestly, I probably would help someone cheat if I had the chance. Maybe. Because I wouldn't really care. I don't really care about relationships. I really don't. Because it's like, I don't see that as a relationship. I see marriage as a relationship, but boyfriend, girlfriend, you guys will be broken up tomorrow. Like, I don't care about that. I really don't. Personally, for me, if I was in a relationship with someone or had a boyfriend or whatever, I wouldn't see that as a real relationship, honestly. I would just see it as it's a continuous thing. But I don't even know why would I be in a relationship with a I really, if I wanted to be with a man and I actually felt he was, for me, I don't think my ideal situation would be boyfriend and girlfriend. It would be, I guess, long term for life or whatever. Um, at that point, but I don't just like get in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, see if I'm emotionally attached to someone. Like, I don't look for that. I guess I'm not looking for emotional attachment, honestly. And I don't know, I just don't have a desire for emotional to think that all women look to men, well, some man, to be their boyfriend. It's just weird to me. I always think that's honestly, I just think like, why would I just automatically look for that? There's nothing missing in my life that I need to look to someone else to fulfill it for me. Maybe I'm just a loner. Honestly, I guess maybe it's genetic because my mother's a loner too. But I always thought, technically, that's very different because my mother doesn't like relationships like that. That's why I grew up with a single mother, like I said, and totally single. Like, you know, you just use men for, sex, basically. And I mean, for her, marriage. And so she didn't like relationships. She didn't really think they were safe. She thought that it was mostly pain and sorrow. Personally, I never saw that. I just had a single mother raising me. I literally saw negativity in relationships. I saw no positivity in relationships either. So that's why I'm not negative against relationships. I'm not hateful against men. I just I just really don't see any value, really. I don't see any like need or desire to move towards any like towards a man for a relationship. And I don't see any reason to really move away from it either. I just see it as like, well, right now, all I really ever want is sex. So that's all I ever try to go about getting. And then that's what's the annoyance, like I said, with dating is that most of the time, it's annoying because I'm trying to get a date with a guy and I don't really want to date, a guy. That's what I mean. I don't like relationships. I don't like anything. I don't like any involvement really in that regard. I just want a physical connection. And I don't know. It's just like I said, I think it's because I don't see the value in being a boyfriend or having a man. I mean, that it's assumed that women always look for this if they want sex, like if they want an intimate situation with a man. I just like went through with one person saying, "Oh, I didn't see it. Someone commented." Uh, yeah, that's because economics have changed. It's because of that. I've said a lot of stuff. especially with gender roles, I think that's a main reason why people often try and say that men don't have to rely on men, but it used to be men did. I mean, women did. Yeah, I know. And I think that's why women are like look to try and see like if a man can be a provider, a protector, things of that nature, you know. Because for me, like I guess because I grew up in a household where the man was not there at all in any sense, I kind of never saw it like I need to look to be in a relationship with a man for those things, you know. I kind of have always felt like I can do it myself, you know, be self sufficient. And I just have more of an independent mindset, honestly. But it's not out of anger either. Like a lot of the time, people think of it in a like a feminist view. I am not thinking of it through a feminist view. I'm thinking of it as well. I don't see why I would look for a relationship with a man to do those specific things like provide or like act and things of that nature and you know and take on a specific role when I do fine just on my own. And like with the emotional side of it, sure, it sounds good. Like I said, I always found that it feels good to, you know, be in a relationship with someone who's basically your better half. That seems really healthy and really, you know, really ideal. Honestly, I can't say anything against that, you know? But that is honestly not my goal. Like when I am dating, when I am involved with men, it's not my goal to be with a man. It's not my goal to be and like have a boyfriend. A boyfriend is definitely not my goal. To me, that is too much work, honestly. And I don't even understand why am I working so hard for something that should just come easily. I mean, if I am emotionally attracted to someone, they'll know it, right? And when I know it, I mean, then we'll see where that goes. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna just try and look for love and romance from someone that I feel no love or romance towards. And I don't just feel that towards random men, just like I don't randomly feel that towards random men that I want to sleep with them, you know? I only look for a select few that I am sexually attracted to be with sexually. So emotionally, it just only makes sense to only be emotionally attached or involved with men that I am, you know, emotionally attracted. Oh, there's another comment. I'm sorry. Sex Adam used to be down on women. And also wide acts within the last 60 years. So all of the oh sorry. A lot of things. Oh, and there's another. Oh. A lot of things driving people to get married aren't there, so marriage rates are lower. Yeah, honestly, I agree with that. Yeah, remember before like 100 years ago, it does make sense for women to be interested, you know, in marriage and partnership and courting and all that stuff. Um, but that was because, you know, opportunities for women were basically nil. But nowadays, opportunities for women are just as much as men. So, I mean, like, literally, I never understood what the deal was to, you know, hurry up and try and be with man and have partnership and things of that nature. I just don't understand that. Like I understand, being with someone that you love, but like I said, I don't understand why would you be in love with a man you aren't emotionally driven towards. That just doesn't make much sense to me. And like many dating, yeah, like with many dating, um, like the dating game and things of that nature, and like that sector. Oh, another comment. I'm sorry. The goals of relationship used to be about survival, not happiness. Now relationships are. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a call, but I will reject it. Um. Oh yeah. The goals of relationship used to be about survival, not happiness. Now relationships are trying to be happy. Yeah, exactly. I do agree though with like relationships being about happiness. Some people like marriage to be about resources. And honestly, I do not have anything against them being interested in. I think personally that's not something for me because I just never felt comfortable relying on men for things of that nature. But other people, I mean, like they're fine doing that. Personally, for me, I'm kind of like a type that would be more like, you know, we have to be on equal footing, basically, in my opinion. I don't like to rely on a man that way because it kind of feeds more into the whole gender roles that I kind of get weirded out by. Like I said, I don't really appreciate that. So happiness is more my interest and like um basically finding someone who's your better half. But I just like understand why everyone always assumes that, it's for like if you're dating or you're in like the basically if you're a single woman and you are, you know, not really looking for a relationship, but you're just like single and you're just happy to me. And I never understand why people always act like they're odd. Honestly, like how many times I've been asked, like, do you have a boyfriend, or why don't you have a boyfriend, or looking for a boyfriend? And when I'm like, I don't look for a boyfriend, I don't find the interest really. I just kind of am like, I'll find interest in a man, maybe to be in a relationship or won't, you know? That's fine with me, you know? Usually it's like that's like there's, that I'm trying to like hide or something of that nature. Brett Anderson. Oh, thank you. I found your channel a week ago. You have interesting discussions. Thank you. But yeah, I just find like dating like sites and things of that nature with men generally, honestly. It always seems like a lot of people always assume the goal is, long-term relationship for women, or like they want a boyfriend, or they want something type. Like my goal with men in general usually is just it's just generally like it's generally like short time fun, honestly. I mean, and out of any man that I've ever been interested in is not something that I've ever looked for, really. It's just, to me, weird to think that just some random guy that I don't even know enough about to know if I'm like wanting, you know, him emotionally. Why would I? It's, I don't know. And honestly, I'm really kind of young, so for me, I'm like, I don't really have a sense of, responsibility. Maybe that's just because I'm under 30, but I find some people do at my age, honestly. Like, I'll have discussions with other people, and they will, the norm for them is to, look for something more meaningful. But I don't know. Like, I think when I'm like maybe monogamy, but currently I'm just like kind of like of the idea where I just really honestly would not be happy with just one type of. I would not want to settle down with one guy and be in like some kind of settled situation. It would be very uncomfortable for me because I would always think about all the other types of guys I could be with. I don't know. I just more. It's just weird to me that I don't know. But I was actually watching this other video, and how she was talking about how that were open. Oh, no, I read that. Oh, okay, that's one. Why do you think women value relationships so much? All the movies, TV shows, etc. Oh no, I was actually talking about different people were talking about like relationship women, and how women and more stability, I guess you could say, things of that nature. And it was really cringy, because I don't understand why why would you think at this age to be like tied down? That would weird me out at this point. But that's what they were basically saying, that like if you were, for one, they were saying like if you were in an open relationship and you were with a man and you were in an open relationship, that these men basically were treating you like a, she said, a pygmy or something of that nature. And I never understood, like, okay, so you're saying basically because you're in an open relationship that that's the case, but like personally, I think that's the only way I would be in an open, I mean, like in a relationship, would be at least in an open relationship. If I liked him enough, it would be an open relationship. Because for me, Oh, my internet's been bad. My internet's been bad. Maybe I will try to do my. I'll do it on my phone. I will do it on my phone. Will be right back. I apologize. All right, I'm almost in. Oh, it's taking a while to load. I don't know if this will work then. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is kind of like crappy today. I need to fix it. My apartment has a problem with it. Thankfully, I haven't. Thankfully, I haven't. Thankfully, I haven't.
Oh, that's weird. Oops.
Oh,
I guess I leave. Okay. Can anyone hear me? I guess they can. Okay, that works out. So what was I saying? Yeah, I'm on only one page. Like, let me charge the phone so then this doesn't shut down. Okay, so your question was, why do you think women value relationships so much? Yeah, I was just referencing many of the people who were referencing like about pick-me's, and this was on a video about pick-me's basically, and how they were basically talking about what women want and what kind of relationships were ideal basically for different types of women. What was that? You said why? Brett Anderson? I did not hear what you said there. Well, you said why, but I don't understand what you're saying. Anyhow, I was just saying, yeah, because of that, I was just referencing. I don't understand why people assume that. And it was a woman who was talking about this. So, I mean, like, that was from her perspective. But also, according to her, it was kind of like weird because it was like she was acting like, I guess people are, different, but she was kind of like acting like the reason people get in relationships. Oh, okay, thank you. Um, yeah, but she was saying the reason people get in relationships is because, you know, starts talking about how they want a provider and things of that nature, and a man who is, you know, basically there for her and is basically a good partner and faithful to her and things of that nature. You know, she specifically was talking about like open relationships and saying, if you're in an open relationship, you're basically a pick-me or something of that nature. And I just found it all weird because it's like, I do not, for one, have any interest in commitment. So I don't understand why people always assume women want commitment. Like, don't some women want to taste the rainbow? I sure want to taste the rainbow before I lock myself down. I don't understand why some people assume, that like all women are interested in just basically settling down with any man, for one. Like, why would I want to settle down with any man when I don't really. I mean, most men that I've encountered, I just have never really liked in that way. It's just like always been more there's a sexual interest, that there's more men that I'm attracted to in that way, and then there's some men I guess that could be emotionally appealing, but I've never met someone who I was actually interested in that way and sexually interested in as well. Honestly, like I said, I'm not really into the masculine energy of men. It just doesn't really do anything for me. It's just kind of like there. So, I don't know. So, that's what I was referencing. That's why I was saying how and why I thought that some people were portraying women to be basically, needy of a boyfriend or wanting a boyfriend or something of that nature. And, you know, because that was another thing she kind of perceived. I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked that. She was trying to basically say how with sex with women. Oh, I see another one. People like to put women in a box. Do you and do what makes you happy. Oh, yeah, I do. But like I was just basically talking about it because it's like it generally affects my life, honestly, because men that I deal with always have the same ideas in their head. Like I said, men always seem to be more emotional about the whole realm of sex and interest and things of that nature, or assume that I'm interested in them in that way. And I think, like, to me, it's like women like that mess it up for me because, like, they always act like, sex has to do with, the emotional ties of it. And that, you must like the guy if you're sleeping with him. Like, for me, this is why I have had it sometimes with men where they think that I want them around longer than I want them around. And that's more my problem is that so many times with men, they get confused. And I think they get confused because of women like this, where they often think that, if you are interested in them in a sexual way, then that means you must have some emotional ties to them because apparently women tie sex with emotion. I do not tie sex with emotion. I mean, like, if that was the case, wouldn't I want my sex toy to be my boyfriend or something? Like, seriously, I don't. Literally, that makes no sense. To me, with men, it's the same thing. I just don't understand why anyone has to assume that with women. It's like you basically are saying that women aren't rational, or women, we don't really we don't really have a sexuality. We don't really have feelings in that way. It's just annoying to me because then I'm never understood. Oh, sorry. There is another comment. This is not to be offended. I believe childhood has a lot to do with our approach, outlook on life. I don't know you personally. I'm just saying in general. Trust me, there are many men that just want to have sex with you, but you're not interacting with them. Oh, yeah, I know. That's the thing about these men that I'm talking about. It would usually be that they would be interested sexually, but the problem is they would get confused because of things like this, where they would think because I was sexually interested in them, that means that I'm emotionally attached in some way. That's why I'm like, for me personally, I've never been of that type to basically include a sexual desire and, pleasure and things of that nature with anything emotional. I was not really liking or disliking in any sense. Like, honestly, I never really pay attention to their personality. Sometimes, I mean, like, it would bore me so long that the date went on so long that I really just wanted to get to the sex. I mean, but like, I think most of the time with, oh, I did not respond to this one. Oops. Yeah, I meant to, I wanted to go back to the other thing you were saying. Sorry about that. This is not to be offensive, that one. Yeah, personally, I do agree with that, with it having to do with childhood, honestly. Because personally for me, my the way I grew up, like I said, I had a single mother, and because I had a single mother, I never really saw relationships or the value in it, the good in it, or the bad in it. Now, my mother, like I said, did not like marriage. She did not like marriage. She did not like relationships. And generally, she basically did what I do, like basically use a man for sex and move along. But like, I do not have the negative part of it because, like, she was exposed to a marriage from hell, basically, her parents. And so it wasn't good, and she never wanted to marry or have relationships. Me personally, I don't have that problem. I don't have hate towards relationships, but I just don't have any real like need for it. It's just kind of like, well, that would be nice, but it had nothing to do with, my general intention of, just having a one-time thing with a guy. But I feel like I said, with women like the one I was referencing earlier, they kind of make it bad for women like me. That's all. And also, I think that's another thing. It's like with commitment and things of that nature, I generally don't really understand. Like, I understand marriage and how that is a consistent lifetime partnership, things of that nature. But with boyfriend girlfriend situations, I, for one, don't really value the commitment to it because the next day you could break up. Like, to me, that's why an open relationship would make more sense because if you still want to be with someone else and you find someone that's cute and all that stuff, then you could still be with that person and you could still be with that guy as well. But honestly, my thing is with an open relationship, it's just consistency. Being around the person would have to mean I like them to some extent. Like, with the friends with benefits situation, at least I don't have to really interact with them that much. But like with an open relationship, I'd have to interact a lot. So they'd have to be someone that I felt kind of special towards to some extent. And honestly, like I said, with men, usually it's kind of a burden to be around them for 4 hours for me. So I don't know. Oh, there's two other comments. I'm sorry. You have to learn to be honest, more honest about what you want and how to honestly communicate. If you can communicate to a man that you're not looking for something serious, you'll increase the amount of relationships that are casual. That's what I'm learning now, how to communicate honestly. Yeah, that's the thing though. I've communicated over and over and over again. Honestly, when I was younger, I was so bold. It was not even right how bold I was back in the day. But I was really bold. And that made men like scared and stuff because like generally I will initiate and things of that nature. And guys kind of tend to like to be more the initiator. It's kind of like the whole masculine thing, which I mean, like, since I'm generally very masculine, so I mean, like, I don't mind taking that role, really. But I guess guys don't like to not take that role, obviously. But yeah, I've always been up front. But the thing is, like, nowadays, it's like, even when I'm up front, they always assume that the sex is going to be tied to something, you know? And it's annoying. Like I said, pertaining to that pick me video, it was kind of like she was acting like women didn't have physical desires or needs just because she didn't. I mean, hey, some people are asexual in this world. I don't understand why, like, if you are similar to those type of people, then I mean, that's you. But that doesn't mean I am an asexual. That doesn't mean I don't have any sexual inclination and all my inclinations are emotional. Sorry about that. And so if I was like honestly, if I was honestly in like a relationship, I think honestly I would not last long because of my own mindset. Like to say like that our goal is to be in a long-term relationship. Goodness, I don't think I would ever make it into such a thing. Honestly, one time I was dating a guy and well, I don't know, like you know, I kind of find it where I think some some people don't realize, that there are spectrums basically to people's sexual interest, emotional interest. Like for me, like I've had situations where I would be dating a guy and I was like kind of like seeing him regularly or whatever. Like to me, it's like if I was to try and be more consistent and like in a consistent kind of committed situation or whatever, I, I would then what would I do the next time I want to be with another guy? I mean, like, it would make no sense to yourself up for failure, you know? I don't know. Like, for me, I can move quickly from one to another. It's just like I don't really think everyone has a goal to be, you know what I mean? It just makes no sense. And then that's another thing that I was seeing a lot of people talk about with dating, with how men value women or how men value you or what, your value is to that man. And for me, I never saw it that way. When I go on dating sites, I look at the man and see if he is any good for me. Like, and I don't mean like relationship wise or anything. I tend to think of it in, the way I think of it. So to me, I don't really see like I don't care if he thinks of me as a value or not a value. If I was caring about value, I think I would care about his value. I don't see why I would care about, like, to me, I'm like, well, if he's talking to me, then he either values or he doesn't. That's up to him, kind of thing. But I don't know, like people always talked about like I guess that's why my point of view is just very different, I guess. Because I don't really look at my value to value, like if it validates men or if men basically can validate me or something of that nature. Like, I don't look to that. Oh, there's another comment. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. Describe the relationship you want with a guy. Like, how many times a week would you see him? What, talk on phone a week? I'm just trying to understand what your ideal relationship looks like. I don't know. I honestly think personally for me, I ran into a situation like that. And I was like, oh my God. Because I wasn't interested in, you know, contacting people that much. I really am not. I'm just not into that. Care about it's like for me because honestly, the only time I care about what a man thinks is if I'm gonna get some dick. Literally, that's the only time I ever care. Other than that, I don't really care. If we can have sex and he can shut up and he cannot be problematic, I don't really care about anything about like what he, you know, thinks of me as far as value or anything, what value I be as his girlfriend, housewife, sex slave. I don't care. Like I wouldn't care really. Seriously. To me, I don't have any interest in those things. To me it's just like can we have good sex? Then that's good. That's all. I'm not really I just don't really think of relationships really seriously. And I just find it weird that people always talk about value. Even when people talk about like short term relationships, they always talk about women's value. And it's like, for me, I'm never thinking about what value I am bringing to any man ever. I really don't. I, I just don't. It's like that never comes through my head. And honestly, like I don't have anything against relationships, like I said. I would easily be in a relationship with a man that I liked and was drawn into emotionally. Like, that would be fine by me. Oh, hi, Harry Thron. There are two R's. Thornburg. Okay, hi. Welcome. Oh, there's Oh, at Brett Anderson. Yes, I would like to generally just hang out generally. Um, but honestly, for me, sometimes with some guys, it's just best like for it to be a one-time thing. Some, I mean, like I could just do like I've done it where like I would do it like a couple weeks or something, but it would only be like a couple, like just for sex. That's it. You know, I literally don't have any emotional ties or desire. I only text guys, call guys, date guys for sex. That's all I ever do it for. If I could somehow just text the word sex, go to somebody, have sex, and be done with it, and every time I did that, we could just do it that way, I would do it. Like, I don't really want any interaction. Honestly, I don't. All I want is the sex, literally. No, I don't actually have a tough childhood. I just never was around men. That's my thing. I never grew up around men when I was a kid. So the thing, because I grew up with just a mother, it was helpful because my mother is a tomboy, basically. And for me, I'm more masculine than my mother. So for me, I'm kind of like not, not really, uh, um, not really that feminine, basically. And when I would see my cousins with their father, it would be odd to me a bit. I don't know. I just know the female to male relation, and I don't mean that obviously. I'm saying father daughter. It seems a little. It's not for me, basically. You know. Um, and I know that sounds odd, but that's just how I've always been. My father did not like just step out on me or anything. He died, so it's not that. So for me, it's just a tough childhood or anything of that nature. I connection to me because I never had a calling. I'm sexually attracted to men who want to. And now I don't want to have. I don't. I'm not the type that sleeps around. I'm just the type that is like that I. So I'm not even around, but I'm not wanting a relationship. So like a lot of it just never understand me. Probably does have to do with reality. Bert ties my tongue. Interesting take on. Yeah, I guess. Oh, it's done though. But yeah, maybe one day, maybe I'll be interested in being a guy's girlfriend, but I just generally look for that. I just felt like it was a generalization, and generally in like YouTube, people often this about women that we want some kind of boyfriend or something at the end of this whole, dating situation. For me, it's just what I've ever. And generally, it's just like it's not really my game, and like I'm not really in game. I prefer like short term generally. Women are into dating game and things of that nature. Carrots like men who are like aggressive or abusive or offensive in words, like things like that kind of like bother me. I don't appreciate men who are basically, abusive in any kind. I won't deal with them or anything of that nature. I I guess for me it's like I have enough respect. I mean, like I don't that doesn't mean that every normal acting man that I want to make something long term with him. I mean, like, what if I don't really like him as a person? Why would I try and make a relationship out of someone who I don't even know if I like in that way? You know? I don't know. At the end of the day, I just don't really understand women like that. And I feel like a lot of men and women don't understand me. And that's why for me, it's like most of the time with dating, it's like generally the men that I do interact with never read me right. They never understand me. They just don't understand anything.